From putting a fighter's life in danger to ending a fight way too soon, MMA referees make some pretty bad calls sometimes. These are some of the worst calls made by MMA referees, starting with Shane Nelson versus Aaron Riley. The time when Shane Nelson's fight with Aaron Riley was prematurely stopped has to be one of the worst calls by a referee. It happened at UFC 96, and the fight was highly anticipated by fans all over the world. So after all that waiting, when referee Rick Fike made this premature call to stop the fight, it really rubbed fans the wrong way. And obviously, the player negatively affected by this call wasn't happy either. It had been less than a minute into the fight, and Nelson started off strong. Riley was dropped not too long into the fight.
Uppercut. Riley went down, and now Alvarez.
Aaron quickly recovered from the blow and tried to gain guard while Nelson jumped on him, so the audience thought the fight was going to go on. But that's not how referee Fike felt. He jumped in and pushed Nelson away, stopping the fight. Not only did this really take the audience by surprise, but even Riley looked at Fike all shocked. Now that was a fight that was stopped too early, unlike the next one in this video. Yep, it's Dos Santos versus Benoit Saint-Denis. Ouch. This one was pretty painful to watch, I'm going to be honest with you all. And it was one of those rare times when a referee was straight up removed from an event for making such a bad call. So if that doesn't put into perspective how bad this call was, not sure what will. The fight between Dos Santos and Saint-Denis was one that literally everyone around the world was looking forward to. And it was pretty hyped too, because as you all know, both of these fighters are pretty aggressive. And that's what makes an MMA fight exciting. The fight started just how we all expected it to. Pretty exciting, with all the audience rooting for their favorite fighters. But shortly into the fight, the match became hard to watch because of how violent it got. And there's no one to blame except for referee Vyacheslav Kiselev. The fight got so bad that even the commentator booth was begging the referee for action and to call the fight off, but he didn't budge. Dos Santos stayed dominant throughout the fight and absolutely destroyed Saint-Denis a little more than was necessary.
Could be because of what the referee did. I was able to leave everything in there. You know, it was a whole year.
Benoit was left in a pretty bad condition. The fight went to the judges, and it was stopped, thankfully. But no one was satisfied with it, because no matter what, no one likes seeing another person beaten up to that point. But it's not always bad referees that make bad calls, just like in this next fight. I'm talking about when Marcus Silveira versus Kazushi Sakuraba faced off. The previous referee got kicked out of the event, and it was established that he failed at his job pretty badly.
I feel as though Sakuraba was out on his feet. Those are all hitting. There's the left hand that clearly rocked him.
But this one is a little different. Even the best of the best make some mistakes sometimes, and this is a prime example of that. Referee John McCarthy's known to be one of the best in the sport. He's respected by everyone, and everyone knows he's a great referee. But even someone like John has had his fair share of mess-ups and mistakes over the years of his career, and this is just one of them. But at least he didn't put a fighter's well-being in danger, right? This is another example of a fight that was prematurely stopped.
Until he got that shoulder hurt, it was his type of fight. And that obviously is what he's going for today.
The fight was between two iconic fighters. Fans were pretty excited about it, and no one thought that the fight would end in such an underwhelming way. So let me explain what exactly happened. It was the opening round of the heavyweight tournament at UFC Japan, and boy was it going to be one for the books. Silveira started off pretty strong, taking charge of the fight, and landed punches in just the first 2 minutes of the match. Sakuraba dropped down, but not because of the punches, but for a takedown.
On the wrist like this, then this shoulder will naturally start to come up from the mat.
McCarthy misunderstood this and thought that Sakuraba had given up, so he stepped in and stopped the fight. Obviously, Sakuraba wasn't happy with this decision and protested, so the fighter's winner wasn't decided and a rematch was to be done. In the rematch, Sakuraba was the winner, so I guess it all paid off, right? Just like this next fight, when Drew Dober versus Leandro Silva clashed against each other. The most important thing in a match is the referee's job, and even a little mess up can make or break the fight.
What we do is I go back to square one, get another fight, and improve on those mistakes.
So although it's a difficult job, it shows a referee's professionalism. So when a fight's prematurely stopped, like the fight between Drew Dober and Leandro Silva, people obviously get mad. You see, Silva dropped down, but not because of Dober's offense.
Boring. This was not a boring fight. It was a wild one. You weather the storm as good as anybody.
But instead, to get a bottom position to attack and execute a guillotine choke. But referee Eduardo Hurdy thought the fight was over. As Dober threw Silva's legs to the side to avoid the choke and stay in a safe position, the referee thought that this was the point where the fight had to be stopped.
You have a knack for being in these battles back and forth, but we're used to seeing you have the strike.
Although Dober was doing the right thing, and none of the players were giving up just yet, the referee broke off the fight, making all the audience and both the fighters pretty mad at what just happened. But in all honesty, the position the two were in was pretty confusing. But that's what the referee signed up for, right? The call was so bad that the winner wasn't decided on the match. Instead, the ruling was changed from loss to a no contest. And that's pretty much what happened in this next fight, too. Yep, it's the matchup between Ian Cutelaba versus Magomed Ankalaev. Although this fight didn't last very long in the ring, it started way before it officially started.
He's wobbled, but he's still fighting. He's still in the fight.
Don't know what I'm talking about? Well, let me explain. You see, Cutelaba started up a fight with a Russian before they even got in the ring, during the introduction. After this fight was broken off, the official match between the two was going to be prematurely broken off too. The fight started off strong, but things didn't stay that way because it ended up leaving fans underwhelmed. I mean, just 38 seconds into the fight, it was called off by the referee. Everyone was left super disappointed because they had to wait so long to watch the two go against each other. Basically, Cutelaba was going to bait Ankalaev into a shot by playing possum. Ankalaev, on the other hand, started going off on head kicks as Cutelaba fell, but he got up soon and threw a punch toward Ankalaev. But even though it was clear that none of the players were giving up anytime soon, referee Kevin McDonald stepped in and stopped the fight since he thought that Cutelaba was done. This rubbed everyone the wrong way, and a rematch was immediately conducted. Just like fans were angry during this next match, Matt Wyman versus Mac Danzig. At UFC 115, Mac was caught in a deep guillotine choke by Matt, and it looked pretty much like there was no hope left for him, but he hadn't given up just yet.
Of the gate after winning that, a lot of the guys that won kind of got easier fights.
Yeah. Wyman thought that his opponent had gone unconscious, so he asked the referee to check. Upon inspection, the referee and pretty much everyone else thought that Danzig had lost consciousness. This made the referee step in and stop the fight. But as soon as Danzig was released, he sprung up. Unfortunately, the fight had already been stopped and Danzig ended up losing the match. Was it a bad call by the referee? Definitely, he should have made absolutely sure if Danzig was actually unconscious or not. Won't you agree? And that was all for some of the worst calls by MMA referees.